in the UK, we did find more than half of the audience not feeling comfortable enough seeking professional advice. And we think that it is down to two different components. One is a hard-headed price level, and we think there is a disconnect between what people are prepared to pay for personalized financial advice, particularly as there are cheaper alternatives in the market, even though they're not personal or they are not quite provide the care and attention of a investment platform. And the other component is the level of service, where it has to be a bit old-fashioned. There is a lot of wealth managers, especially whose service is designed for older generations who perceive those wealth as a luxury item, concierge services. Younger generations tend to think of it much more utilitarian term. Wealth as a means, not an end. Having a wealth manager is not, oh, I've made it. It's a sign of.
Hello, Theo. It's a pleasure having you in the show. Welcome.
The pleasure is all mine. Good to meet you, Mark. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you. So let's go straight into it. I want to start with the why, the how, and the what. So, why is it important and so relevant that today we have conversations around purpose?
Around purpose. Purpose is behind everything that we do. We see it in business all the time. When we don't have a purpose, when we don't follow a particular calling, like we run the risk of sounding a little bit inauthentic, like we're made to do it because it's a job. And purpose gives you that authenticity, gives you that voice that is unmistakable, right? You cannot fake it. When you really believe in what it is that you do, you've got a driving force behind you. So whatever you do, I think that it is important to find your purpose, you follow your purpose, and you stay true to it.
Yes, definitely. I can feel the passion. Let's say when you ask me, oh, tell me about your podcast, I'm like, you light up. Like when you are aligned with purpose, whether personal or business, like you come to life.
Absolutely. It is that authenticity. You can definitely feel it. It can't hurt it.
Yes. So what's your take on how can we build more purpose-driven fintechs then?
Yeah, it's a good question. One of the major ways that I think that we can do that is by going back to the basics a little bit. In fintech, in financial services, where my background is, it is all too easy to give way to because there's a lot of money involved in this industry. And that's not the purpose, though. That is just a vehicle, right? That's just the means, it's not the end. So going back to the basics is important. Put it this way, what we do as fintech financial services, is not about greed, accumulation. It's not about more and more consumption. It's about confidence. If you protect and accumulate, you build some wealth, you are more comfortable, you build more secure in the future. I always tell people that when they look at a number on their assistant's portfolio or something, it's not just a number, it's somebody's dreams, hope, and desires over there. We have to remember that. It's like behind everything that we do, there is a human and their own purpose, for want of a better word.
Definitely. And you are on a purpose. What is Invest purpose?
So our purpose is to give people visibility, control, and more confidence in their financial future. There is various financial products to do that. In our case, we can choose to spectrum right from the investment side of things. You're taking your excess wealth, if you like, your savings that you do not need to be immediately available, and you use them, you leverage them to create that confidence for the future, heritage, something for your children, all these things. And in order for me to do that, because it's such an abstract concept, you need the tools and the technology to have a view over it and some control over it to collaborate after the financial advisor or wealth management. So that's broadly our purpose. It's about that transparency over your financial future.
Mm-hmm. I love how you tie up confidence with financial safety, because it's you're not just building an investment product. You are helping people have the financial safety such that they can have the confidence to go and live their lives the way that they want. I love that. Totally love that.
not only to live your life. I don't forget it. It's also to have control. We have the be able to change that. So many people restrict to that having accumulated build some wealth over their working life. When they reach a certain age later in their careers, and that you should do something completely different, just because they can. That level of control in your life, that has got to be at the very top of the mountain, right? It's not just, I've made everything else work over layers, and now I've got the option to go and do something that is, give something back, to do something that is not, I don't have to worry about, I've reached a certain level of financial security and I have got options.
Definitely. Oh, yes, I love that word. Exactly. You just have that financial security gives you options, which is key. But one of my questions that I like asking myself and guests is, we as FinTechs, we've been around, as we know them, like the startup FinTechs, we've been around for about 10 years. And while we've had a ton of impact, because we have, I think the problem statement, e.g., financial stress, has grown faster than the impact we've had. And probably we need to do something differently if we really want to help people. So, in your view, what do we need to do to have 10 times more impact in 5 years' time?
I'm going to summarize it as reduced complexity. That is kind of like go deep into the farmer with generally financial services, especially FinTech. We're pretty good at creating complex product, complex communications around it. We're good at finding needs in markets where maybe they don't exist. That's great for innovation. That's great for behind the scenes. But when it comes to the point of delivering financial services to consumers, citizens, people, we need to reduce complexity. And I think that if we're going to talk about actually making a difference in people's lives, we're going to have to simplify the way that financial services are delivered. Banking has gone a long way to doing that already. I don't know if any of us remember what banking used to be like when you had to go into a branch to do even the simplest of tasks. Has gone away. That has been simplified away. Other subsectors of financial services should follow suit. There is great strides being made, but I think that if our guiding principle is making things simpler, I think that the impact will be not much.
I love it. Yes. And especially if I think of investments, simple is a very good principle. So let's assume that we follow the principle of keeping things simple and we can have 10 times more impact, 5 times more impact in 10 times in 5 years. Yeah. How we get there, right? Like, how does that world looks like? And we as FinTechers, we love like data. So what are the key things, the KPIs that show us that we got there?
The KPIs would probably be greater financial engagement. We run a survey where a lot of people told us that they don't save enough, they don't invest enough, they don't monitor their investments if they do have them. They're not comfortable with the language of investments. And this gives you a clue that there's areas where we as an industry, and I'm talking about the investment management industry now, wealth management, like we need to simplify the language, the metrics, even the data. We need to present it in a way that it is more, I think, historical. I'm in this stage of my life and I need to achieve these goals. I have accumulated this much so far and protect it and build on it. Am I on track? Do I need to change things? Should I not change things? Simple language, but it's tied to somebody's reality. The KPIs, I think, tie to the questions that we ask. If we see more people being financially engaged, telling us that I feel comfortable talking about investment because I don't need to use all the technical term. I can bring it down to my everyday life. If we see high rates of saving investments, if we see high rates of people, and that's important to us, of engaging with financial professionals. Not everybody is pre-focused with the time or the energy or the knowledge to go the self-invest route, the DIY route. A greater involvement of people in with people being more comfortable taking financial advice, we think that is a good sign, good KPI for international financial health, if you like.
How, I think that's a very fair and good point, right? Like, how could we get people to engage more? What's the secret?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to the idea of simplicity, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit over. We've got obviously our own approach to that. We come from the world of user experience, so we know that product might be great. You have got investment advisors what will design you a great picture or even help you along the way. But how you present it matters. One idea here is the idea of nudging clients to save more, to invest more, to be more considerate, responsible with their own wealth. Another idea here is transparency or visibility. By all means, use the portal, the app, whatever it is that you have, to make sure that people, when they read, to have access to the portfolio they have. And the final idea is about control. When people see that there is a misalignment between their own strategy or their goals, dreams, and where they are now, even the power to change things, to call someone, to call their advisor, and make appropriate changes. All these things would play into this. That's how you would get there. And in fact, in many ways, what I'm saying is not revolutionary. Many other industries have gone down this route. It's just that in financial services, we love our complexity. We like making things a little bit more difficult, right? And it makes us, because there's so many smart people in there. That's not why. And we just need to communicate in a little bit more down to ground level.
Yes. I want to expand on that because I think you described really well the vision on the how to do it. But at the same time, you as a founder, you have that in your head, right? And it seems that you live with those principles in your heart. But how do you ensure that our people, like FinTechers, they are really customer centric? Because what you just explained is basically being customer centric at all angles and at all touch points of the journey. But sometimes if someone works in operations, let's say, or in tech, how do we embed that customer centricity?
It is absolutely not the easiest thing because people will go deep into their working lives, absolutely. I think the language that you use is important, making sure that there is a human element to the language that we use. We like to abstract things away, performance, portfolios, different investment products, holdings, all these things. Bring it down a level. Even if you work in operations, or if you work, even the idea of risk. The idea of risk is something very close to my heart because it's something so real and visceral. But when you apply it over to financial services and to the risk attached to an investment product, always designed to close off what it actually means. Because you fill in the questionnaire and then your provider, the investment provider, will peg you into a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of your investment risk. And then the next time, you will see that it's maybe next year you have your investment review and they'll ask you the same questions. And then, in fact, if you, like me, are trying to go boring, probably answer the questions, knowing that we want to be on the risk level where we want to be. I'm a medium-sized type of person. Now, that should not be the case. I think that especially the idea of risk should be something a little bit more human. It should be a lot more, how do you feel about things? You should be able to measure your level of stress when it comes to the markets fluctuating, right? Close circle, using human language across the board, and especially around the idea of risk, how risky something is, and what does it mean is important.
Yes. And then I want to go deeper, like really deeper, because you just published a survey, basically a study, a report called Defining Wealth for a New Generation. And I think you guys did a really good job in defining not defining, but like finding out how bad the situation is for young investors in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's surprising, absolutely. But we're not expecting these numbers to be so high in the UK, where it is a country with famously more financial literacy than perhaps the rest of Europe, where you and I might have got some experience around, but certainly Greece, where I come from, and in Germany, where I live, I expect the UK and the others to be a bit more financially fluent. It's a little bit surprising. We did find more than half of the audience being uncomfortable with advice, more than half of them not saving and not understanding the role of investors. And yeah, again, more than half of them not feeling comfortable enough seeking professional advice. If I may, I'm gonna use a bit of an analogy over here. Go over to a medical profession. This would be akin to us saying you have like more than half people that don't really know how to measure their own health. And they're not really comfortable with that. They're not really comfortable with answering a question or monitoring basic health question. And yet, for whatever reason, they won't go to a doctor.
Yes.
Strange, right? That can actually be impactful in a negative way. And that seems like a call to action for the industry. Why would you not seek professional financial advice if you're not comfortable in the world?
Yeah. And then just to build on that, because it's the stats in the report, it's 56% of people are saying
Right.
that they do not actively seek financial advice, whether because they think it's old practice or the cost. Have you guys understood the why are they not seeking financial advice?
$100 million question. We definitely have got an approach. Yeah? We have taken we read through the numbers and using our experience of talking to people in the industry, people outside the industry, the consumers. Coming from a design background, we always champion the customer, right? So we have got that empathy built in because that's
Yeah.
just where we come from. And we think that it is down to two different components. One is the hard-headed price level. And we think there is a disconnect between what people are prepared to pay for personalized financial advice, particularly as there are cheaper alternatives in the market, even though they're not personal or they are not quite provided the care and attention of a investment platform. And the other component is the level of service, where it has to be, for want of a better word, a bit old-fashioned. There is a lot of wealth managers, especially whose service is designed for older generations who perceive those wealth as a luxury item, concierge services, and glitzy offices and all these things. And younger generations tend to think of it much more utilitarian term. Wealth as a means, not an end, not as a sign. Having a wealth manager is not, oh, I've made it. It's a sign of consulting. It means I need somebody to help me. Actually, this is a problem at all. The net effect is that sometimes it feels a little bit like, I don't know, people in the world of tourism always say it's like an old school hotel with all the trappings of old school hotels and portables and the rest of it, and yet at a really high price point, all the time surrounded by, boutique hotels that you can move on and everything. It's a strange world where old school level of service and high prices, whereas your consumers are expecting lower fees, and a much more no frills, well designed for sure, but no frills service. And we think that's the whole climate.
I think, well, I'm speaking as a consumer listening to you, right? When you say old school and associate the word old school with financial advisor, and then you think of, oh, all these people that have approached me on LinkedIn, then you're like, yeah, you associate that. So are the financial advisors reaching, let's say, 40 and above, and then there's not a new generation of people doing that they could relate to the younger guy?
I'm not sure, Navigate. I think that there is a constant flow of new blood in the industry across the board. Now, it could be financial advisors, it could be wealth management working for companies, it could be across the investment management sector. You will find people of all generations. I'm not sure if it's generational, actually. I think it might be fractional, the way that the industry is designed. We know that there is an enormous amount of other compliance work to be done, which means that for a lot of investment professionals, they cannot scale the way that they work. They cannot pay so much attention to these things, to this individual administrative task, that the level of service kind of suffers. That's where technology comes in.
Yeah.
That's, from my perspective, if we can build the right FinTech to empower investment professionals to provide a more scalable, more modern, more digital service, then gradually they should be able to provide a service at the lower fee level. And then gradually they will be able to work with a larger segment of the market, including what you call the mass affluent segment, or younger investors that inherit from their parents and grandparents, all these things. We do think that it's, and that's what we're looking at now, that technology can play a crucial role. But, and that's an important point, not by removing the human factor, which is a lot of what FinTech is designed to do, but by empowering the professional advisor. This is the important point, is we're not looking to replace them by self-invest or robot platforms. We're looking to empower them. If you all say, human or machine is always better than human or machine. That's the angle.
Yeah. And I like how humble you are, saying, if there was a fintech that were to do this, I'm like, that fintech is yours. It's called Invest.
We try. That is indeed our angle. That is our angle. That is the philosophy. We do try to provide that fresh angle. We see it as a pretty fresh angle. In many ways, it is the holy grail. It is personalized advice, human advice at a scale. If we're able to do that, I think that we're onto something, and we're onto something big.
Yes. And I want to build, now that you scale, I want to go back to the numbers, right? So there's there's different problem statements. It seems like we have 3 customer problem statements. Number 1, we are saying 42% of young investors are not comfortable with investment principles, e.g., they don't know. And 59% of them do not monitor their investments. So this is people who are in investments, but not really savvy. Then you have 26% of young UK people. They don't save. That number is huge. 26% of people don't save. So that's like another problem statement. And then the third one that some people are starting to talk about is the great wealth transfer. So we have baby boomers, they are becoming older, and then basically it's the generational wealth is starting to pass down. And then you have, just to put in numbers, it's $84 trillion money. $84 trillion, it's a lot of money. And then you put it in the hands of all these millennials and Gen Zs, that they are so disengaged with their money. And then their parents have been killing themselves like for years building this wealth. And then if we are not good investing, if you are blessed enough to have a family member that leaves you some money, well, at least know how to manage it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's nice situation to be in, but it's also for a lot of younger generations, it's also a responsibility. I speak to a lot of people who see it as, I've inherited this money, I've done into this money. Sometimes even from founders like myself, when you exited the company and you still have got responsibility to protect and to build that wealth. It's not just, and that's a kind of a friend of mine we need to stay out of. It's not about consumption, not about the old trapping of wealth and being rich. It is a means to an end. It's something to be protected, a problem to be solved.
And then basically, those 3 problem statements lead to us, to you, to Theo, to this conversation, right? To invest. So I want to expand on one of the questions that the audience usually wants to know is, okay, Monica, you have all these people in the pub, but what makes Invest an innovative fintech?
But that's something a little bit later, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper on that, which is about empowering investing professionals. This is what we try to do. This is our North Star, if you like, our guiding principle is what we try to do. Then the how, or the how we're trying to achieve it, is what is important with it. Then there's where the innovation is. We try to look at it this way. We speak to a lot of investment professionals, relationship managers, financial advisors, all these things. Depending on the level of service you provide, we see that one of them can potentially work with maybe 20, 30, 50 customers. We ask ourselves the question, what technology would you need to be able to work with 1,000 customers? It's not 1,000, with 100 customers. That is making it real. How do you scale referral? What about replacing financial advisors with any robot advisor or any kind of software system or like that? Give them the tools to be able to save time, admin tasks, and then being able to deploy it more productively to where they're delivering value to the client. And where human investment professionals provide the biggest value is in software areas. Don't looking for natural languages again. But stop treating it for coding. It's about providing the guardrail so that you can protect you, even if you are inspired one day by the latest or riskiest of stuff, they will tell you, are you sure this aligns with your goal? These kind of protections, that kind of regulation, that's what they provide value. It's not questionnaires and the arguments and the forms and everything. It's all the soft aspect where we would like them to be empowered to save time from that and to give them proactive use when things work, somebody needs a little bit more help. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to use behavioral data, analytics, we're trying to use predictive technology to pinpoint when an investor, a client, is feeling distress, whether it's a misalignment between what they say there is appetite is and what it actually is. And when there is a misalignment, the investment professional can be alerted and to say, I'm going to give this person a go because something might not be right over here. No amount of technology alone will drive you through the scenario. It really is technology plus people.
Yeah, I really like that thinking because I put myself in the shoes of the customers of your customers. And it's so stressful whenever I've tried to find an advisor that I'm like, I don't, I don't, didn't trust them. It was expensive. I got confused. This, the other. You're like, oh, maybe I'll leave it in the robo wealth. And maybe that's not the right decision because, but then you're like, oh, it's overwhelmed. And that's a bad thing. It's overwhelmed. And therefore you're like, oh, inaction. And you just like leave it where it's there. That's why 46% of people don't monitor their investments.
Then you're totally right over here. Because I think that once you ask the question, you can almost imagine the person that was asking the question, do you do this? Oh no, I should. And they kind of go through the thinking process. Oh, it's something that I keep pushing back and back. And it's so easy. It's so easy to just push it back and forget perhaps something that any investment advisor will kind of tell you. They will be right. Time is on your side. Time is one of the most powerful instruments you have in accumulating or building wealth. You start saving and investing when you get it. Doesn't matter how the stock market fluctuates or whatever it is. If you've got time on your side, the compound interest will do its thing. Growth will do its thing. So you actually have got a built-in incentive to start earlier. And it's not a lot of people don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's because you don't have the know-how and you want someone to just tell me what to do.
Absolutely. And we want to tell you how to do in your own language and in a way that is not going to feel like, it's going to feel a bit more modern. It is all digitally mediated these days. Certainly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I can feel that you have the human side is at the core of what you do. And then basically your fintech helps humans deliver a better service to the other humans, right?
We want to help humans play that way.
Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about who are your customers and their pain points?
Absolutely. So our customers tend to be the broad side of investment professionals who can be financial advisors, they might be wealth managers, they could be even. So far, we can focus very much on the B2C side of things, the distribution side. They might be more esoteric vehicles, could be private equity, basically any company that manages wealth or assets on behalf of another personal company is the type of company we work with. Typically, they tend to be independent companies that kind of look after clients. They tend to be bank and large companies that have got their own way of dealing with wealth, with priorities and the salary. So they tend to work with more independent and business. Right. The pain points that they're looking at, you can, from their side, you can summarize it as scalability. The industry, it's a bit of a technical term, but essentially it means that before you can jump from servicing 10 clients to 100 or 1,000 clients, you have to jump through a lot of hoops. That's not essentially what it means. And some of them are compliance, some of them are infosec or technology, some of them are or would like to provide them more personal services, and our clients are not going to use an app or whatever, but they will. What we try to do is we try to help them solve the scalability problem, try to give them technology to be able to service their client better, to empower the relationship managers or portfolio or financial advisors to do the work more efficiently, all the while without losing their personal standing, but keeping the ability to provide that coaching guardrail for the test, but in a more scalable way.
Okay. Can you go a little bit deeper? As in, I'm a financial advisor, and then you help me scale, let's say, from 10 to 25. How does your platform look like / help me do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine your working life if you are in the scenario. Now we want to rethink an investment professional and use that kind of example, investment professionals' everyday life, so that they start the day knowing that a lot of the tedious work that they want to do is taken care of. Partially it has to do with reporting. You at the very simplest level. You've got your client portal, your client app. You know that your customers have got the transparency, the visibility over their investments without you having to create, export email reports of the thing. Now, that is not necessarily in some of the baseline level of service that you need to have that reporting for things. The second one, however, is the support side. Customers will have questions, you will have questions for them. Being able to facilitate that conversation, and again, it takes in the coaching after the thing in a lot more automated way, and knowing who you want to speak to today will make your life a lot easier. Right? Say you start work, half of the work of the admin work is taken care of. Another 25% of the work waits for you in your inbox. The messages are pre-written. The technology will do that for you. They're not sent because you as a human, you're in power, but the messages from your customers and from you to the customers are pre-written, waiting for you to be audited and sent away. The third is about the risk element that I mentioned. Yeah. If a customer is in something of distress or misalignment between what the fitting for risk level is and what the action is, you don't have to go to 15 rounds of admin or looking for documentation to figure it out. The machine tells you, I'm not always discovered, but it gives you a clue that this is where you can look after. So that's another 20% of the work. And then there is, of course, the holy grail of all that to be able to work with technology aim to do, which is to provide a bit more speed on the advisory journey. The customer is this part of the journey. What should they be doing next? Let's give you 4 options and see what feels better to you or to your customer. Technology will help you along the way, but will not replace it.
Yeah. It's like my brain is thinking 2 ways. It's thinking as a, oh my God, that is so interesting as a fintech. And on the other hand, I'm like, oh my God, I would love if as a customer, somebody could help me with that. So can you go, I'm like, can you go a little bit deeper, especially on the risk side? Like how could the platform know that Monica is in distress and you need to call her?
The biggest clue that we would have on this would be a combination. I want to try to be a bit descriptive here without giving away the game. But be a combination between behavioral data, so the behavior we're displaying on using the digital platform, the frequency of logins, the content you're choosing to see where you can log in, combined with investment data. A strong signal over here might be something like, as the market take a tumble, as the sometimes do, a customer is displaying quick when logging in, especially in the morning, straight after you get the news, you log in. That is a strong signal that there is a potential level of stress over here. And at that point, if you as an advisor, relationship manager, are able to trustfully suggest a remedy, or at least to provide reassurance that, hey, look, this is what happened. You're still alive, eyes on price, long-term gains, don't go thinking to change something here. The benchmark, you have to explain the benchmark and everything. So immediately you feel better. It's about picking out those signals. Behavioral data will give us the first clue, combined with things that a company would know, like the investment data and the market, etc.
Yes, and I like how you tie those up with that specific use case, because that's when you need the confidence, right? We started the episode
Indeed.
talking about confidence and protecting your money. And those times in that example is when people make mistakes because you get anxious, you don't have the knowledge, and then boom. And then
And
you're
when the human is not there and you are completely in a self-reverse rating and you're not confident with the numbers, you tend to act on a panic. You sell too quickly. You buy too late. It's a human advisor, a professional advisor will help you through this purpose.
definitely. And then I want to go back to the element of, you said, like communicating with customers. So it's, to me, it seems like almost like the dream relationship, right? That it's, I don't need to sit with you as an advisor, maybe for a very long conversation. Yes, I need to, but at the same time, you may be prompting me to think about stuff.
Possibly, absolutely. That proactive aspect of the service is very important. What we like to think of it is this way: it used to be many years ago, thankfully, that your whole visibility over your investment was potentially a quarterly report that arrived on a PDF or even printed through the post. Many years ago, that was okay. Now, eventually, it turned out to be on a daily interaction point, etc. What we see that is following that from the reporting side over to the supporting conversation side. Why should the interaction between an advisor and a client be limited to a monthly call or an annual review? Why can it not be a small message that you would ask? So like something simple. I see I have got 5% of my portfolio is cash. Is that right? Does that look right? If you ask that, now, having said that, the answer to that question might be easy to answer. You never know them the first time. Easiest use case for a support is for the AI that gives you a set of answers there. You're not convinced. You pick it over to an advisor and you can get the conversation going. But it is not a once a month. It relies on a kind of like quick ping of a conversation. I think it's also important.
Mhm. Yes, I'm like, I think you built a really good product. Like
Thank you.
it's thought from there's the problem statement, there's the human element, but the solution is very well thought through. It's not just, okay, let's put these wireframes together and then just, it's thought through. So I'll build on that and I'll flip the question over to you. Given that you build a good product, what's your definition of good product?
I come from a designer and
Yes, I know.
it's hard from a designer, so it has to be a client or a customer focused answer. If it's used, if customers are using it, if they're seeing value in their lives, it's helping them with their goals and the confidence on and everything to fit with their life and creates value. We're not thinking that the product has done its job. I think that anything else, any other metric or KPI that you have is incidental. Creating customer value weekly, actually see people use it, necessarily love it. Well, it's fintech. It's not a gaming, it's not entertainment, but if that you're confident using it, I think you have done something wealthy. You've moved the needle close to it.
Good. I like that. And I'll dig deeper because it's not that easy to do, right? It's not that easy to build a great product. So one of the elements that we have in the process of building product is defining the roadmap, right? That's like the biggest question. If you ask like fintechers in product, what's your biggest challenge? All of them say prioritization, e.g., coming up with a roadmap and a strategy, right? So what is your take? How can we build product roadmaps that help us stay ahead of the curve, both of our customers and competitors?
I wish there was this single, simple answer to this. This is very much on a per case situation. It has to do with the way that your strategy evolved in response to the reaction of the market. It is something that you have to dynamically evolve in response to market feed. Part of it will have to do with what you hear from customers. Ways of value about that you create, whether it is, in our case, I mentioned reporting on the support side, on the risk assessment side, all of them. Another part will have to do with the effort that is involved in bravery and then the key of that particular feature or direction onto the market. You cannot start with the highest effort item. You do have to budget. You have to be realistic. In the end, like a lot of these things, it's a matter of balance. You pick what is the most value you can create versus what is more achievable and actually releasable or shippable, so you can start collecting feedback, and that roughly creates your roadmap. There are circumstances between us now and while you're building Fintech where you have to slow down a little, where you actually have to pick something and just say, I'm going to focus on this particular one thing over the next 6 months, because there's a lot of value here. It might be a high ticket item, big ticket item, but there's a lot of value here. And I'm going to focus so much, it might even be the stable head of the pivot, if you like. There are other situations. They're rare, but they will happen. Forces a product strategist to have to be mindful of that balance.
Theo, I absolutely love the product and the approach and the mindset. So before we close, I just want to add 2 to 3 fireside questions, just like to put you on the spot. So what's the secret to building successful products with impact?
Listening before doing, not necessarily market research. Just spend a bit of time with your clients and your clients, if you're B2B, understand what you're building. I can't stress how important it is, especially financial services, where there is so much value created in plumbing, in the financial planning, the invisible bit, that we sometimes forget the human factor at the very top. Very important.
Yes. Your customer is listening to you. What would you tell them?
When will you be using this? My biggest clue for figuring out how my product is going to be used is to place it in my customer's life point. Are you using it in the morning in conjunction with your newspaper? Are you using it once a week where you're chilling out and figuring out how better can fit things out? Are you using it as you are interacting with the financial advisor? Are you using it once a year when you're downloading reports for a tax month? Point is, what is the trigger? The trigger will give you a lot of clues about how you want to prioritize your features in your product.
Interesting. Cool. Okay. So what is your most memorable customer review?
2 years ago, when we were exhibiting the app together with a client in an event that they had for an invest, and I had two opposing sides of the clientele. It was a wealth management, and they were both in the booth for assessing the technology. One of them was probably in their late 70s, early 80s, very interested in accumulation, but they were really interested in the technology. The other one was a lady in her 30s who had just exited a company, and she was very tech savvy, and she just wanted to get as much visibility over her portfolio. And both of them coming from two completely sides of the wealth demographic, if you like, they had the same word: or transparency or control. Doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter your age or where your wealth came from, inherited, made, whatever it is. When it comes to it, you have the same word.
And my favorite question, if you were to change one thing in fintech that had the most impact on customers, employees, and shareholders, what could that be?
A bit more empathetic approach, I think. We are very data driven. Not a bad thing necessarily, not a bad thing necessarily in financial services and fintech, but we have developed the language almost as a shield against thinking that behind portfolio and number, valuation, or holding is somebody's dream. In the same way that when you develop the language of future, you eat pork, you don't need to pay. You can develop a language to shield yourself against the language you're carnivore. I think in the same way, kind of humanizing the language a little bit more, something that I would like to steer. I think that the industry would get more kudos if we were to go there. It is a service by people for people at the end of it. It's not just there to generate ever bigger and bigger numbers. It's used for something.
Thank you so much, Theo. It was an absolute pleasure having you in the show. I love your ethos, the product, the problem statements. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much, Monica. Bye-bye.